It's the 7-1 Pittsburgh Steelers, led by their remarkable rookie quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger. The Browns 3-5, desperate for a win. And Bill Cowher's Steelers already know it's going to be a tough fight in Cleveland. $73,000 sellout. The partisans are ready to roar in Cleveland. It's the Steelers, however, making the noise in the AFC North with their 6 consecutive wins. A 2-game lead over Baltimore. Cleveland down with Cincinnati at 3-5. Now with the latest report on the pre-game activities, let's go down to Armin Katayan.
Thank you, Dick. Well, you know, this rivalry really heated up earlier in this week when Browns defensive tackle Gerard Warren said he would take a $50,000 fine if he could knock Ben Roethlisberger, the rookie quarterback for the Steelers, knock his head off. Well, that drew the immediate ire of the league, would threaten to suspend and to fine Warren. Well, earlier today, not long ago, a little kiss and make-up session between Roethlisberger and Warren on the field before the game. And Dick, as you well know, that was about the last peaceful moment we had down here. Back to you.
All right, Armin. Of course, Joey Porter took up the battle and free swinging with starting running back William Green. Both have been suspended from the game. Porter, the Pro Bowl linebacker, is out, and a rookie will replace him, James Harrison, and Lee Suggs will take on the duties of William Green at starting running back. Richard Alston, what did he do in his first kickoff return last week? He took it all away for a touchdown against the Baltimore Ravens. Jeff Reed, strong-legged kicker for the Steelers, gets it underway here in sunny Cleveland. Alston at the 8. Finds a crease. One man to beat. It's the kicker. Chase from behind, gets a block. He's all the way to the 15-yard line. Oh, my. What a start. Richard Alston. He was a car salesman a year ago in Raleigh. He's a budding star in Cleveland.
And Bill Cowher knew that this was a buzzsaw awaiting him here in Cleveland. The Browns play like a completely different team at home, and all Alston had to do was just a casual look to his left, where a gaping hole up the middle of the field. No Pittsburgh Steelers were in their proper lanes in between the hash marks, and Alston took advantage.
Got to credit the kicker. Reed, he got enough of Alston to slow him down so help could come from behind. First down, Cleveland at the 18. Suggs, he was backing up Green in practice all week long, now has to take the full duties at running back. He gets the ball. He's to the 11-yard line. And a gain of 7 on first down. Chris Hope made the tackle. Jeff Garcia's first year in Cleveland. He's 3-1 in his starts here at home. Joaquin Gonzalez with his first NFL start at guard replaces injured Kelvin Garman. And the new wideout, Antonio Bryant, the ex-Cowboy, needs to come up with some big catches in a depleted Browns receiving corps. Terrell Smith, the blocking back in front of Lee Suggs. Second and short. Hayden and Shea, 2 tight ends. Suggs again. Trapped in the backfield. Good penetration by Clark Higgins. And also in on the play, there's James Harrison and Aaron Smith. Well, steady Steeler lineman is indeed Aaron Smith. He leads the team with 5 sacks. And in his 8th season, James Ferrier is having a Pro Bowl year. And young safety Troy Polamalu is a super active part of the revived Blitzburg defense. Butch Davis in his 4th year here in Cleveland. This is a big game for him. At 3-5, a victory. 4-5 brings back hope for the Browns fans. 3-6, yeah, playoff hopes will certainly be dimmed. Third down. Garcia tried. It might have been a quarterback draw. He saw an opening, but James Harrison and Chris Hope make the play, and they're bringing the blitz early.
Well, Deshae Townsend, number 26, blitzes off the edge. That's the first reason that Garcia has to go up the middle. Jeff Garcia's first option is always going to be to escape to the side, and I look for that all day for the Steelers to try to rush upfield from the edges to keep Garcia from getting to the outside.
Dawson on quite a run of field goals kicked, 26 in a row, 16 shy of Mike Vanderjagt's NFL record. And he's right down the middle. So the kick return of 74 yards by Richard Alston leads to the Browns' early field goal advantage. Welcome back to Cleveland, and the 74-yard kick return by Richard Alston sparks the first score of the game as Dawson makes it 27 straight field goals with a 31-yarder and 3-0 Cleveland in less than 2.5 minutes. Phil Dawson now to kick it off, and Antoine Randall L. and Ricardo Coakley are deep to return. Booming spinning kick inside the 5. Randall L., a former Indiana star, spins and down he goes at the 25-yard line. The 22-year-old rookie quarterback sensation of the Steelers, Ohio-born, schooled at Miami of Ohio, Big Ben returns home with gaudy numbers. Up front, All-Pro Alan Faneca leads one of the NFL's very best offensive lines. And the bus, Jerome Bettis, starts again today. He brings his Hall of Fame credentials as the number 6 rusher all time. Roethlisberger trying to do something that has never been accomplished in NFL history as a rookie starter win his first 7 games in this league. The bus. He barrels ahead for a gain of almost 7 on first down. Cleveland's defensive line, defensive tackle Gerard Warren, will be under a watchful officiating eye. And we'll watch Andre Davis at middle linebacker. He's a hitter. And veteran safety Robert Griffith, he's going to have to bring run support against Pittsburgh's top-rated rushing offense. And there's Deuce Staley sitting out his second week with a hamstring. Should be back next week at Cincinnati for the Steelers. On 2nd and 3, play action. Roethlisberger's first pass is a long one. It's intercepted. Will there be a flag, however? Dalen McCutcheon has the ball, but there was contact downfield with Hines Ward.
But you know what? If it's incidental contact, if it's just their feet getting tangled while they're both looking at the ball, that will not and should not be a penalty.
It's McCutcheon's second interception of the year.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39. T-Mobile, get more minutes, more features, more service. And by the new Chevrolets, 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months, an American revolution.
Back in Cleveland, Dalen McCutcheon, the son of Lawrence McCutcheon, 5 times the L.A. Rams leading rusher, a fine player in his day, has his second pick. Ben Roethlisberger's 6th interception thrown in his 7 starts. Here's Garcia, loves to roll, and he likes to tuck it away and not afraid to pick up yardage with his legs. He's out to the 34.
Well, let's go back and look at this interception. What you're going to see is just tremendous coverage by McCutcheon. When both guys are playing the ball, if their feet get tangled, that is not a penalty, nor should it be a penalty. And look at this. After the interception, look at Kennard Lang get in front of Ben Roethlisberger and say, hey, I got him. I got him. There'll be no cheap shots on this guy. Hey, Kennard Lang, go to the head of the class. Great job.
Yeah, that's a good touch. Emotions very high here all week long. Garcia on 2nd down throwing, and a fine catch by Antonio Bryant, tiptoeing along the sidelines. Bryant involved in the trade with Dallas for Quincy Morgan.
Well, a couple of things to keep an eye on today. Are the Browns going to be able to handle this trip to Pittsburgh? They'll see more blitzes, more exotic looks than they see all year. The Jerome Bettis story continues without Deuce Staley. He has got to do it all today. And Big Ben, 4 of his 6 wins have come in the friendly confines of Heinz Field. This is a tough place to play.
Suggs. And he fights his way for a couple to the 49. And Troy Polamalu, the second-year safety from Southern California. And when you talk to the opposing teams, they quickly talk about number 43. He's all over the field.
Well, some guys, Dick, when they deliver a hit, when they make a tackle, they're dragging guys to the ground. The guy falls forward. Polamalu is one of those guys that almost 100% of the time when he makes a hit, the guy changes direction. He goes backwards after the collision.
2nd and 8. Suggs again tries the right side, gets a couple more into Pittsburgh territory. James Ferrier, who leads the Steelers in tackles with 59, has a couple of interceptions, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. What a start to his 2004 bid to make the Pro Bowl.
And this Pittsburgh defense now having to do without Joey Porter. If you joined us late, he's been ejected from this game, along with Browns running back William Green for a fight during pregame warmups. And Joey Porter is a large loss for this Pittsburgh defense. 4 sacks, a Pro Bowl football player, not easily accommodated his missing.
3rd down 5. Garcia dumps it off incomplete to his fullback Terrell Smith, and the Browns will have to punt. Smith and Chris Hope, the safety, a little push at the end of that play. Antoine Randall L. drifts back to return the punt. Ever dangerous. He has 4 kick return touchdowns in his career. Derek Frost scuffed one last week that hurt the Browns against Baltimore. Drives this one high. No fair catch at the 15. Flag down. Randall L. run out of bounds at the 26. 33-yard punt, 10 on the return, but Jeff Triplett, our referee, and he's had a busy Sunday already. The officials were on the field, by the way. There were several officials on the field during that skirmish that involved some big right-hand swings.
During the return, illegal block. Number 24 of the return team. It's a half the distance to the goal penalty. First down, timeout.
Ike Taylor with a penalty. The Browns-Steelers rivalry has been a heated one. 1976 at Cleveland, Joe Turkey Jones rudely flipped future Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw. A memorable moment in the Browns-Steelers series. Some growling in the dog pound as these fans trying to spur the Browns. 3-0 the score. Ben Roethlisberger starts at his own 7-yard line after the penalty on the punt return. Dan Kreider, the fullback. Bettis, the tailback. And it's Bettis. Hit, spins away. Stop for no gain. Robert Griffith, there's that safety up on the line of scrimmage to make the tackle. Ben Roethlisberger, the 11th pick in the draft, the 3rd quarterback taken after Manning and Rivers. He grew up about a 2-hour drive to the west over near Toledo, Ohio, and Findlay, Ohio. Didn't play quarterback until he was a senior in high school. Great career at Miami of Ohio. He's jumped in with the injury to Tommy Maddox and outlived any expectations of any rookie quarterback. On 2nd and 10. Roethlisberger coolly fires and completes a first down to Hines Ward out at the 25-yard line. And the numbers that he's posted in his first year, these are just phenomenal.
No, they are phenomenal. And as he's got such a wonderful supporting cast, but still, that you can't take a look at those. Those are where he ranks in the league to the right. A rating of 1. It's just phenomenal the way this guy, his poise, his maturity, and all-around athleticism for such a large man. 6'5", 241, remarkably nimble and shifty.
Gets the Steelers out of a hole, now throws out in the flat to Hines Ward, and a solid tackle, and it was needed by Dalen McCutcheon to prevent a big gainer. Well, we're not the only ones enjoying action. Let's go to New York and Greg.
All right, Dick, at the Meadowlands, the Baltimore Ravens, a 15-play drive to start the game. Jamal Lewis on 4th and goal, stopped short of the goal line by the Jet defense. They remain scoreless, the Jets and the Ravens, guys.
Boy, and how those can turn things around. Of course, the Ravens 2 games behind the Steelers in the AFC North at the start today. Just a couple of yards on that completion to Hines Ward on 1st down. Back to Bettis. The bus showing those nimble feet. That can't quite get around the corner as Griffith and Holdeman collaborate on the stop.
It's still remarkable every time I watch Jerome Bettis run how light of foot he is. For such a big man, between 250, 260 pounds, his ability to just pick those things up and lay them down so lightly, he almost looks like he's tap dancing sometimes. He looks top heavy. Do not be confused. One of his greatest assets are his tremendously light feet.
He takes a breather, and undrafted rookie Willie Parker, number 39, is with Roethlisberger on 3rd and 6. The quick throw, and wide open is Plexico Burress, and Burress has the 1st down at the 40-yard line.
Ooh, Anthony Henry gives Burress a wonderful cushion. Plexico must have looked over at this and said, thank you very much. I'll be more than happy to take care of this. He comes in on the quick slant, and you can see that Anthony Henry isn't even in the picture. Anthony Henry, and he also helps it out by slipping, but he was a good 7 yards off of Plexico Burress. That was an easy pitch and catch between quarterback receiver.
Now they've dug out from their own 7-yard line to a 1st down. The Steelers at the 39. Bettis back in. Randall L in motion. So that gives them a triple left, and the throw underneath, and it's complete to Hines Ward. Breaking tackles. He's a terrific runner, and a 1st down at the 39-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. Now let's go back to New York in this update with Greg.
All right, Dick, in Indianapolis, the Colts have drawn first blood against Houston. Peyton Manning, 4-yard touchdown pass to Brandon Stokely, and the Colts lead at 7-0, coming up on 5 minutes to play in the first. Dick and Dan, back to you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, what's that, about 27 now for Manning? Is he going to break Dan Marino's mark?
Ask Dan Marino. He knows exactly how many it is for Peyton.
Solid drive by Roethlisberger and the Steelers. Now back to Bettis, and Bettis able to burrow his way to the 35 and a gain of 4. We talked about Bettis and chatted with him yesterday, and he said in terms of his future and how long he'll continue to play, this is his 12th year, but he's only 32. He said it all depends on these things down here, these 2 feet of mine. As long as those still can move quickly, I can play.
And it's what I talked about a couple plays ago. For such a big man, very nimble.
Bettis remains in the eye with Kreider, the fullback. Make that Cushing now, who moves from tight end to fullback, and he gets to the corner and carries a defender, Andre Davis, all the way to the 29-yard line, and that could be another Steeler 1st down. Right back to New York we go.
All right, Dick, down yonder in New Orleans this time around. Kansas City's Trent Green finds Eddie Kinnison 21 yards and a touchdown right down the middle. It's a 7-0 Chiefs lead, coming up on 7.5 to play in the first quarter, guys.
Yes. What's Sunday, because we just go take looks at Peyton Manning and Trent Green throwing touchdown passes. What's new?
Kansas City, like Cleveland, are at 3-5, and this is a big game for both those teams to try to move up out of the hole they've dug early. Bettis on 3rd and 1, able to get the 1st down easily. Chris Crocker came up from free safety for the tackle.
What an offensive line. Jerome Bettis gets the run behind, and Ben Roethlisberger gets the throw behind. This unit is playing at a level unrivaled right now in the National Football League. Just take a look at that nice little crease on the left side, but keep in mind this drive started back inside the 10-yard line, and it has been grinding away. This group, Marvell Smith, Alan Faneca, Jeff Hardings, Kedrick Vincent, and Oliver Ross. No offensive line in football right now is playing better than this group.
On 1st down, a good fake by Roethlisberger, and now he's going to tuck it away at the 25, the 20, and slides in at the 16. That'll be near another 1st down. It gives you an idea how mobile and agile he is.
Well, Bill Cowher saying, you see, he's got the play action there, and look at the way Cleveland reacts to the play action, as they should. Pittsburgh's been running the ball. But this mobility, this range, and this quality of decision-making have surprised even the guy who drafted him, Bill Cowher. He said, I'll be the first to admit, when he got here, I did not realize he's as good of an all-around athlete as he is.
Second and a short one. He even mentioned that he was punting the ball 40 yards the other day. No mean fict, especially that he's punting it left-footed. The give is to Willie Parker, and the rookie from North Carolina is down to the 11-yard line, and Andre Davis makes the hit. Well, he showed a good burst there. He was undrafted, only carried the ball for 181 yards as a senior with the Tar Heels.
Well, the guy last week who had to spell Bettis was Verron Haynes, but Haynes is out of this game with a turf toe. So Willie Parker is the guy that we're going to see, even though they only had 3 carries coming into this game. So the Steelers very thin at running back. Pretty much it's Bettis and it's Parker.
12th play of the drive that started way back at the Pittsburgh 7. It's on the reverse to Ward, and it's well read defensively as Dalen McCutcheon held his ground, and a good ankle tackle to deny any significant yardage.
Well, the Steelers led off the game last week with Philadelphia with Hines Ward scoring on an end around. It was to the left side. Here it comes back to the right side, but look at McCutcheon. That is a beautiful, sure-handed open field tackle. He stretches out. He takes away the outside. Hines Ward has to go parallel to try to get around it. Textbook work there by McCutcheon.
Give him a yard, which ties him with Lewis Lips for the most yards rushing by a Pittsburgh wide receiver in their history. Roethlisberger looking for 6, breaks out of the pocket, and then is hit from behind and sacked at the 15-yard line. Kennard Lang has his 5th sack of the season, a flag down. Flag was thrown in the secondary, and Roethlisberger indicating that it's against Cleveland.
Holding defense, number 96. 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Lang, the man who sacked Roethlisberger, is called for holding.
Well, Kennard Lang right here. This is him right here. Let's watch him work his way upfield. Oh, you can see it right there. Absolutely. He grabs Jeremy Tooman as he tries to release out into his pattern. You're allowed to grab and hold the ball carrier, but that's it. That was a good catch by the officials as Lang held up Tooman trying to release.
So it's 1st and goal from the 5, and Bettis has 8 touchdowns scored in 11 rushes inside the 10. Here he comes again. He's in the end zone for another one.
That's just awesome blocking. That is just awesome blocking by the Steelers' offensive line. That is just superb.
Boy, did that pile move backwards.
Well, they brought in Max Starks, their backup tackle. He's going to be right here on the end as a tight end. He gets an outstanding block. Cushing gets a good block, number 48 right there. But look at that surge. Keep in mind, they were outside the 5-yard line and just pushed all those brown shirts back into the end zone. What a surge.
And what an impressive drive of 93 yards in 13 effective plays. Try for point by Jeff Reed out of Chris Gardaki's hold. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, the bus has taken them into the end zone again. And it's the Steelers 7, the Browns 3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dr. Pepper and your Dr. Pepper bottler. Be you. Nothing's better. Dr. Pepper. And by Saturn. People first.
Jerome Bettis paying off that very impressive 93-yard drive with his 9th rushing touchdown of the season. Hard to believe that he started his career as a Los Angeles Ram. He played 2 years with the Rams before eventually being traded to Pittsburgh. Here's Richard Alston. He had that 74-yard kickoff return to start the game. He circles and on a sprint comes all the way to the 18 to field it. And then it's a reverse, read beautifully as the Pittsburgh Steelers come up with a play, and it's number 33, Russell Stuyvesant from Youngstown State. He had it read all the way, and Bettis has the touchdown. Back in Cleveland, and a reminder, CBS Amazing Tuesday kicks off with the premiere of the new Amazing Race, Ordinary People on the Adventure of a Lifetime. Don't miss the premiere of the new Amazing Race, Tuesday at 9/8 Central here on CBS. Well, Alston had to come up so far to receive that kickoff that the reverse did not work, and the Browns start at the 20 with Lee Suggs in the backfield, Garcia to throw. Pops one underneath, complete to Dennis Northcutt. A first down across the 30.
Take a look at Pittsburgh's touchdown. Power football. Look at all the people to this side. Tight end, fullback coming. Faneca is going to pull around. But look at Jerome Bettis. He is 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. You think he builds up a little momentum on his way to the line of scrimmage? You get 255 pounds, put him 7 yards back. Behind that kind of blocking, hey, that's an automatic.
Yeah, that old, almost a cliche for a play-by-play man, the battering ram.
Yes.
That was Bettis.
That's right.
That's the end of the quarter. We'll return to Cleveland Browns Stadium after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. .31-yard line, or just across the 30, are the Browns with a first down as we open the second quarter. Steelers leading 7-3 here in Cleveland. Garcia on the roll. Throws upfield, incomplete. Trying to hit the tight end, Aaron Shea. Good coverage from Chris Hope. Well, that's what Garcia wants to do, Dan. He's admits I'm not comfortable just in the pocket.
Watch this, Dick, in the middle. Pittsburgh comes with their cross blitz. You see Ferrier and Kendrell Bell go ahead and cross blitz. That kills people with that pressure up the middle, but Garcia avoids the whole thing by being on that rollout. Pittsburgh just humbles offensive lines with that crisscross blitz, but that's how you can beat it with a mobile quarterback on the perimeter.
Here comes another blitz, and Suggs hit in the backfield as a flag goes down, and Suggs lost the ball for a moment. Aaron Smith charging in there along with Kendrell Bell, and Bell, who was out for the first half of the season, returned from injury, a groin injury last week.
Holding left guard, the offense. That penalty is declined. Third down.
Steelers get the yardage and the loss of down with the hit by that charging defense that takes it back to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, you hate to get called for holding and still have the defense get in. That's the double whammy.
Yeah.
If you're going to hold, at least hold well enough that the defense isn't in your backfield.
Well, Dick LeBeau back as defensive coordinator, and he's revived the Blitzburgh attack. They're coming.
They bring it.
Everyone on that defensive side has a blitz package. They're coming again. Garcia throws short underneath as Antonio Bryant was the intended receiver, and it was James Ferrier charging in from the left side as the linebacker to put pressure.
Well, there's 66-year-old Dick LeBeau. Of course, everybody remembers that run he had as the Steelers linebacker coach and defensive coordinator back in the 90s, and then he went on to Cincinnati. And when he became available after a year in Buffalo, Bill Cowher did not hesitate 1 iota, 1 second, to get his friend Dick LeBeau back. And what a dream for a defensive player to play in his scheme.
Derek Frost. And he delivers his punt, a dying spiral. Antoine Randall L. at the 38. He's got some room. 50, 40, spins inside the 35-yard line. A short kick, timed perfectly on the run. The return of 29. 29-yard return by Randall L. First down, Pittsburgh at the Browns 33, leading. Play action, Roethlisberger slips down, and he's grounded at the 38 by Sean Thompson, the linebacker. Roethlisberger losing action with the turf there, and he had a man open downfield.
And this is something that Ben does very well, rolling to his left and throwing back across his body. But you can see he just threw that right leg too far out in front of him, and the cleats on his heel weren't enough to keep him upright. And there's a moderate amount of embarrassment involved in falling on your keister like that.
It looked like he was playing on a frozen pond. 2nd and 15. Another play action, and deep down the middle he goes for Burris. Incomplete. Getting back just in time was Dalen McCutcheon to get a hand on it, as Burris at the goal line, and the crowd of Browns trying to pull that down with his superior height, 6'5".
Well, here's a pass that should have been a lower line drive. Instead he throws a floater that gives the Browns a chance to come over. And Dalen McCutcheon, number 33, wouldn't have been in on the play if that would have been a little lower and a little harder. But because the ball hung up in the air and floated for a while, McCutcheon was able to get over there and make a nice play.
McCutcheon's had a solid first half, hasn't he, already, with an interception and a good open field tackle. Willie Parker, the rookie, in the backfield with Roethlisberger, and the throw is incomplete. Looked like a little short screen onto this side to Parker, but they weren't on the same page.
Well, keep in mind now, Willie Parker is a relatively new guy there, and that's Ebenezer Ekuban, who a little slow getting up for the Browns. But you know, with Deuce Staley out, you know, there's some coordination problems here in the Pittsburgh running back department, and that's one of the first places it would show up in something that takes a little bit of timing, like a screen.
Chris Gardocki comes out. They have to lead him out and show him what to do. He didn't have to punt all last week against the Eagles. That's the first time ever in the history of the Steelers the punter didn't have to come on the field. He'll just try to pooch this one to Dennis Northcutt, who stands inside the 10. Beautifully executed. Beautiful.
Well, he didn't. He may not have punted last week, but he didn't forget how to do that.
No, Ike Taylor downs it. Welcome back, and a reminder tonight on CBS, nature wreaks havoc. 2 massive storms collide. It's an original movie event, Category 6, Day of Destruction, tonight at 9, 8 Central on CBS. So Gardocki with a perfectly high place kick down at the 3-yard line, and the Browns huddle in their own end zone. 7-3 Steelers trying to make it 7 wins in a row. You know, Bill Cowher made a good point. It was Saturday at the Masters is moving day, and he said now we're at the part of the season, this is moving time, the end of November. This is, if you're any good, where you make your move.
Yep, you set the stage, and of course this is a chance for, you know, Bill Cowher's got the big picture thing going, not just the AFC North, but he'd like to get that home field advantage where he is right now, the #1 seed for the entire conference.
From his own end zone, Garcia avoids the safety, and then the deflection incomplete. Kimo von Oelhoffen able to bat it down. James Harrison almost had a sack, and we've got an update. Let's go to New York.
All right, Dick, and in the Meadowlands, the New York Jets have scored first against the Baltimore Ravens. Curtis Martin from a yard out finds his way into the end zone with the extra point. The Jets lead at 7-0, just under 7.5 to play in the first half. Dick and Dan, back to you.
All right, thanks, Greg. And of course, Curtis Martin is chasing Jerome Bettis. They're currently 6-7 in NFL history in rushing yards. Jets draw first blood there. It was to James Jack. No, it's Lee Suggs, and Suggs out to the 10-yard line before Chris Hope can make the stop. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 3.
Well, that was a good job by the Browns on the right side. They a little more manageable now in 3rd and a couple yards for a first down. Again, they get out of their own end zone, but this is a situation here. This drive doesn't necessarily have to be measured in points to be successful. A couple of first downs would make this a very successful drive for the Browns if they can convert here.
Garcia will go to the shotgun. That's Frisman Jackson in motion. They give it to Suggs, and he picks up the first down to the 17-yard line. Clark Hagan's on the tackle.
Good call running the football against that cross Steelers blitz. Watch, here it comes again. You see, there comes the middle one. There goes Kendrell Bell behind, but he trips and falls down. If Kendrell Bell doesn't stumble, that blitz called by Dick LeBeau puts him right in the face of Lee Suggs. Good break there for the Brownies that Kendrell Bell stumbled and fell.
You got the cross blitz. They got the green blitz. Every player's got one. Underneath, and it's complete to freshman Jackson, who's a good target for Garcia. He's 6'3", 220 out of Western Illinois. Out to the 24, and Cleveland, Jekyll and Hyde season, 3-1 at home, and their only loss was in overtime to Philadelphia, and 0-4 away from the banks of Lake Erie. Terrell Smith and Suggs on 2nd down and 4. Good little miscommunication there. That play just was off balance from the start. It looked as if Garcia was expecting the handoff to a player much closer than the one he finally gave it to.
Jeff turns all the way. He pivots. Now there is a look where I believe it looks like Garcia was the guy who actually came out and turned the wrong direction. And boy, did he hustle in a hurry, and he barely got the ball into Lee Suggs. That thing was on his hip there for a minute. My guess is Jeff, hey, it's a new offense for him too. He looked like he did the pivot the wrong way.
3rd and a long 3. Here they come, and Garcia has to throw while he's falling on his back side, and incomplete it is. Boy, they just put hurry in your mind the way they creep up to the line. Pittsburgh.
Did one of his offensive linemen step on his foot? Yes. Yep, I believe so. It looked like Enoch DeMar, maybe the left guard, might have actually stepped on Jeff's foot as he was trying to backpedal out.
Derek Frost now to punt. His first 2 have not been very successful, and Antoine Randall-El, he had a 29 return on the last. This one is another wobbler, and Randall-El calls for the fair catch, lets it bounce. He acted as though that might have been touched just by his actions, and the Browns say it should be their ball. It is. Aaron Shea came up with it. Randall-El, he took that little hesitation after he called for the fair catch, as if it might have clipped him or Ike Taylor, who was down there to block.
Now, this is something that is subject to review, whether or not this ball was touched by Randall-El. Okay, now, of course, the ball wasn't near Randall-El.
It was Ike Taylor
was the guy that was close to it. Now, that...
Hard to tell from those replays.
Wow, I can't tell if he touched that or not.
We'll get a decision when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by NFL Sunday Ticket, only from DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV or visit your local retailer for details. Viagra. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you. And by Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here.
Well, Bill Cowher has the red ball of cotton ready to fire.
Well, I don't think that Ike Taylor touched the football. All right, that's it, Randall-El waving, but Taylor's 24. But look at his reaction. He doesn't even, you'd think if the ball touched him, and, you know, instinctively he'd have gone and chased it. The ball does not look, from the angles we saw, like it grazed Ike Taylor.
Pittsburgh is challenging the ruling on the field of a touch by the receiving team.
Yeah, Randall-El was the one, but he was screened. The ball was landing on the other side of Taylor. He acted as though, it might have hit him, but Taylor didn't.
Yeah, the only place that could have touched him is on the left arm, and especially from that look right there, that didn't appear to be the case.
Referee Jeff Triplett will give us his decision on the challenge by Bill Cowher.
After reviewing the play, the kick came down and did not touch the Pittsburgh player. It was illegally touched by Cleveland at the 38-yard line. Therefore, it will be Pittsburgh's ball, 1st and 10. Pittsburgh is not charged a timeout.
And Dan, did you hear the roar from this crowd? There are a lot of Steeler fans.
There are. Well, you know, it's so close to Pittsburgh. And again, I think that's a nice job by Jeff Triplett, because it appeared to be very conclusive that the ball did not touch Ike Taylor. So good use of the replay system. Hey, Cleveland and Pittsburgh, I mean, it's just right down the turnpike. It's about a 2.5-hour drive. This is one of those deals where the Steelers don't even fly over here. They come over on buses. It's not worth going to the airport and getting on an airplane. So, yes, this has been, well, it's the AFC's oldest rivalry, and it's close and it's passionate.
All the way back to 1950, 106 meetings between these two franchises. Roethlisberger over the middle, and threw into coverage. Incomplete. Tuman the target, and Warwick Holdman was right there, the linebacker for Cleveland. It's your last chance, folks, to sign up for free fantasy football. Don't miss out on all the thrilling action, intense competition of NFL fourth quarter fantasy. The sign-up ends this week, so click on fantasy at cbssportsline.com. 2nd and 10, Bettis, the tailback. Both wide receivers to the left, and now Hines Ward, who has 51 catches coming in motion. Bettis rolling off the right side to the 44, and Andre Davis, the third-year middle backer from Florida, with the tackle.
You know, Jerome was, it was really interesting to talk to him, because he took it personally. Some of the things have been written and said about him the last couple of years about, you know, that he was over the hill, he had nothing left, the bus was empty, and all this and all that. And those 33 carries last week, there was a certain amount of vindication involved there for number 36. He takes that very, very close to heart when somebody criticizes him.
On 3rd and 4, Roethlisberger ad-libbing his way. Now throws and has his man for a first down. Plexico Burress coming back to meet the pass, and there again, here's a rookie showing all that cool and finding the open guy.
Well, here's a guy that grew up a 49ers fan because he loved Joe Montana. What's this look like? All right, I'll tell you what, nothing. Let's go left. Let's go, nope, let's go back right. Let's go this way. He wears the 7 for John Elway, but what awareness. What awareness. And, of course, Plexico Burress, one of his closest friends on the team, a quarterback's best friend when you come back for the football. Burress came back almost 10 yards to help out his QB.
13-yard play, and poor Anthony Henry trying to cover him for half an hour. Finally saw his man Burress finding open room. Davis makes the hit on Bettis on first down inside the 40 of Cleveland.
You know, that movement we saw by Ben Roethlisberger is exactly what Bill Cowher was telling us, that it shocked him. He didn't know that he was capable of making such good decisions and such athletic plays outside the pocket on the move. You know, you just thought this guy was a big, strong-armed pocket quarterback, and he is so much more.
It's vindication for him, too. He said, he underestimated me because I came out of the Mid-American Conference. We grow some pretty good quarterbacks in that league, too. There's another hit to Burress in the 27-yard line and a first down. Well, those of you that may be joining us here in Cleveland, activity started long before kickoff, about an hour before the kickoff. That's Gerard Warren and Roethlisberger making up, and then Joey Porter and William Green got into a fisticuffs. Both have been suspended from the game. Jerome Bettis with the only touchdown in the 7-3 Pittsburgh lead as the Steelers go for 7 in a row.
You got to be on top of your game to get ejected before the game even starts. Yeah, that's bringing your A game.
Burress, false start for Pittsburgh.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 80 of the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Let's go down to the sidelines and Armin Katayan.
Well, Dick, a couple of quick injury updates. The Steelers running back situation further thin. Dan Kreider, their blocking back at fullback, out with a right shoulder injury. And Jeff Bain, who had that eye injury, they put a shield on his helmet to protect the right eye where he had been poked. He'll be back out there during that next series. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Fane, the center and a key member of that blocking corps for Cleveland. The fake to Hines Ward and the give inside to Bettis. And he is hit hard as he gets down to the 26-yard line. Tyrone Rogers, in his 5th year out of Alabama State, got a good shoulder on Bettis.
Boy, he's hit hard, but you know what? It still ends up being, about a 6-yard pickup, 5-yard pickup for the Steelers, and it is a positive surge nearly every time Pittsburgh runs the football. Again, Cleveland has got to hold their ground here against this Steeler running attack. You can see Pittsburgh more than doubled Cleveland's rushing total.
2nd and 9 and time called. With 6:44 remaining in this first half.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by IBM, the official on-demand business consultants for the NFL. And by the 2005 Ford Mustang, built for the road ahead.
And welcome back. Pittsburgh, the last 2 weeks, and remember, that's New England and Philadelphia, 2 unbeaten teams. Look how they've outrushed them. 473 to 28, 24 first downs to 1.
Called having big leads. 21-0 against Philadelphia, 24-3 against New England.
They've outrushed the Browns today, 59-24. Roethlisberger escapes. Lots of room, 20, 10. And 2 Browns ran into each other, and Roethlisberger's all the way to the 6-yard line.
And was that Hines Ward that came back to make a block for his quarterback? A guy for years that has been the best blocking receiver in the NFL. All right, Ben's going to head downtown, but watch Hines Ward come into the picture right there as he takes out Orpheus Roy, number 99. That is a 320-pound defensive tackle being wiped out by Hines Ward, a wide receiver.
And it all
No toughness there.
And it all started with Roethlisberger showing how adept he has become getting out of trouble in the pocket. Here's Bettis, and he draws a crowd after a yard gain, led by Gerard Warren and Kennard Lang. Ben Roethlisberger, he wasn't a Browns fan growing up, as Dan indicated, like the 49ers in Montana, and everyone trying to draw comparisons. Montana, Marino, Elway. He likes the number 7, and he does. John was a big guy that could move around fairly well.
Yes, he was, and that's where the 7 comes from. Ben said he wore it in grade school, high school, college. He's always worn number 7, and he very plainly says it's all because of John Elway.
2nd and goal. Bettis again. Carries the pile close to the 1-yard line. Alvin McKinley was there first, a defensive tackle.
Working behind Harding, Vincent, and Ross, but Matt Cushing, number 48, his lead blocker, now that Kreider is hurt. You can see that he gets in there and gets a hat on Thompson. And there is Russ Grimm, the former Washington Hog, outstanding guard for the Redskins, who's been the Steelers' offensive line coach for a number of years now. And this line has taken on his personality. Mean, nasty, but good technique at the same time.
Just outside the 1 on 3rd and goal. Bettis. He's in the end zone for another one. 10 rushing touchdowns for the man that played at Notre Dame. Jerome Bettis. The bus is still well lubricated. He's got the gears going again.
Boy, and what a patient run by Jerome Bettis, because this took a little time. Kedrick Vincent comes all the way over from the right guard spot, and Jeremy Tooman, who's set to the far side of the formation, has to come all the way over and help block at the same time. Jerome Bettis didn't panic. He butted a couple heads, ran into his own guys a little bit, but just knew when to make that surge for the end zone.
And now the try for point by Jeff Reed. And a 14-3 Pittsburgh lead. 62 yards, 10 plays. Go the Steelers. Jerome Bettis in the end zone again. Back in sunny Cleveland, are you looking for a fresh start to your fantasy football season? This is your last chance, gang, to sign up for NFL Fourth Quarter Fantasy, the first ever midseason fantasy game, and it's free. You go to NFL.com or NFL on AOL and sign up today.
Well, here's the touchdown. Watch Jeremy Tooman here. He's going to come over. Kedrick Vincent, the guard, is going to come over. We've got the lead block coming in here by Cushing. The Steelers are throwing a lot of bodies at the left side of their offense against that Browns defense. And Jerome Bettis just very, very patient. Tooman's going to come over. He's following Vincent. And then at the last second, you see he just feels that crease. And that's when Jerome Bettis makes his lunge for the end zone.
Richard Alston bobbling the ball, and it goes out of bounds at the 1-yard line.
Oh,
couldn't be worse.
Wow. You know, sometimes this thing, because it's pointed on the end, just doesn't do what you would like it to do. And Alston just can't get a handle on it. I don't know if he was distracted in the sun a little bit, Dick. That is, you're looking back up into the sun at that end of the end zone.
Well, he couldn't have coaxed the ball into a worse spot for the Browns, starting on the 1-yard line.
No, that was, and against this defense now, again, we're back to one of those drives that'll be measured in first downs for the Browns. Can they possibly grind a couple out of here to save some semblance of field position?
Now Garcia's completed only 3 passes out of 8 this entire first half, 32 yards, and if he has any design on throwing, it's going to be from his own end zone against that Blitzburg defense. No, it'll be Suggs, and he barely gets onto the field of play. A gain to the 1. Let's go down to Armand.
Dick, for those at home that might be wondering what happens when players are kicked out right before the game, the answer is both William Green and Joey Porter, who, by the way, denied spitting on Green, are still at the stadium. They are in the locker room, but they are not allowed to be on the sidelines. Dick, back to you.
All right, Armand, and in that flurry of temper before the game, both men now, I'm sure, as it's cooled off, ruining their air. They want to be out there with their teammates. 2nd and 10. That's Bryant in motion. Garcia throwing deep, has a man wide open. Northcutt. Dennis Northcutt to the 45-50 and all the way to the Pittsburgh 43. Longest play of the game other than the opening kickoff for the Browns.
Well, Dennis Northcutt starts in the slot to the right for Jeff Garcia, and this is a rare mistake by the Pittsburgh secondary in the zone, allowing Northcutt to come free. Nothing very fancy about this. He just goes up 15, 20 yards and then heads across the field in a post. And working against that Pittsburgh zone, he's left unaccounted for.
Big 58-yard play from their own 1. Suggs rejected at the 40-yard line after a pickup of a yard. Kendrell Bell leading the charge, the 4th-year linebacker out of Georgia.
Well, right now, Dick, for the Cleveland Browns, they got that big play, so field position-wise, huge. But the problem that isn't going away here is their inability to run the football. Butch Davis's team right now, Ben Roethlisberger for the Steelers, has more rushing yards than the entire Browns team for the game so far. That's unacceptable for Cleveland if they're going to get in this game.
Of course, Butch Davis is starting running back. William Green, who took most of the snaps all week long, is out of the game, suspended for the fight. Garcia. Dances along the sideline, stays in bounds, and may have the first down. He does.
How tough is Jeff Garcia?
Oh, he is tough.
Everybody in this stadium, including everybody in a white shirt, thought Jeff was going to go out of bounds. And talk about a nice athletic move. How about that little tap dance he did down the left sideline? You know, right there you think, oh, he's going out. Well, that's what James Ferrier thought, and he was dead wrong.
12-yard gain and a first down at the 27. Yeah, he looks frail and light at 6'1" and just about 200 pounds. He is gnarly tough, Jeff Garcia. Welcome back. A reminder coming up on the Nextel Halftime Report. Greg, Dan, Shannon, Boomer. They'll have the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Nextel Halftime Report. Trailing 14-3. The Cleveland Browns have put together a significant drive, 72 yards from their 1-yard line. This is a first down play. Against the blitz, they pick it up. Garcia throwing deep for Bryant, intercepted by Polamalu. And he is driven into the end zone, and that will be the touchback to the 20. The ball a bit underthrown as Garcia released it on the run, and Troy Polamalu has his third pick of the season.
Well, it was another one of those cross blitzes up the middle. See, take a look at it right time. There it is again, and this time Garcia gets outside, but Polamalu has man coverage with a safety over the top with Antonio Bryant. See, Polamalu's going to run with him the whole way, but he knows he's got safety help over the top. You see that right there as Hope is coming over, but the ball severely underthrown. And that is too easy of an interception for Troy Polamalu. And Jeff Garcia knows that was just a poorly thrown pass. 9th interception thrown by Garcia this year. The progress was to the 2-yard line, and that's where they will spot it. Pittsburgh ball. With 1:52 left, the Steelers have 2 timeouts and a fairly comfortable first half lead of 14-3. We'll see just how big a chance Bill Cowher takes here in this spot. And the other side of it is the Browns have all 3 of their timeouts, so they can use those timeouts and they can get the ball back if they can force Pittsburgh into a punt.
Roethlisberger to Bettis, and Bettis gets some real estate out across the 5. Sean Thompson from West Texas A&M, the tackler, and we have a timeout. As you can see, 2 timeouts left for each team. Cleveland used that time to stop the clock at 1:46 left in the half. 4-yard pickup by Bettis, 2nd and 6.
Boy, now here's a situation where, I'm sorry, you got to be thinking, we got a rookie quarterback here. We got to run this football. Could they possibly, in an attempt to convert a first down here, put the ball in the air at some time in this drive?
Bettis, the lone running back. He gives it to Bettis, who slips down at the 9-yard line. That'll be 3rd down and 4 as Cleveland spends its 2nd timeout. He's been so durable and productive, Jerome Abraham Bettis. Look at that. He's 13 and 39, 50 to 53 yards, and he passes Tony Dorsett for number 5. And you look at all those names, and all of them but Bettis have the same body build. Bettis is the one big man. He's 30 pounds, 35 pounds heavier than the rest of that list.
That's a good point.
Big play here as Cleveland tries to stop the Steelers and get the ball back before the half ends. Roethlisberger, quick throw, wide open. Antoine Randall L. was 7 yards from the nearest brown jersey.
Well, Anthony Henry, talk about a cushion. Take a look at this. Anthony, are you there? I see your shadow, but not you. How easy is that? You've got a rookie quarterback. You'd think maybe in this situation you might be tempted to squat on the route a little bit. Instead, Anthony Henry playing a good 10 yards off the ball, and it's just pitch and catch.
And now with 1:36 left, the Steelers, after that gain of 19, they're going to go back to the air. Roethlisberger almost intercepted by Henry, and there's a flag probably against Burris of Pittsburgh.
Well, and that's smart play by Plexico Burris. Getting called for offensive interference isn't the worst thing. An interception is the worst thing if that's the call.
And it would have been. It was right to Henry of the Browns. He looked to have an easy pick.
And right there, the Steelers were feeling a little heady, I think.
Offensive pass interference, number 80. At the 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, that's one of the penalties, as
Yes.
you well pointed out, Dan. It's a good play. Bill Cowher says, hey, you kept the ball in our possession.
You know, I don't think Plexico is going to get chewed out in the team meeting tomorrow for that move. But I seriously, you're up 14-3. You're on the road. You're still, well back in your own territory. Wow, that says a lot about how they feel about Ben Roethlisberger, that they went ahead and threw it on first down. and we're being that aggressive and trying to get down into field goal range.
And Roethlisberger was being hit from behind just as he threw the ball.
I think Bill Cowher would be happy to take this lead and go to the locker room.
This is Jerome Bettis time. The bus will be in gear. Here he comes. Breaks a tackle. And is out to the 25-yard line. Clock runs now at 1:17, 1:16. Ecubon back in the game after being shaken up earlier in the game. And Warwick Holdman with the tackle. And the bus has 63 yards and 2 touchdowns of the 99 racked up by Pittsburgh in the half.
It was fun talking to Jerome yesterday where he talked about how good he feels, bothered by a bad knee all last year. He had some surgery on it. He said this is the first time in a couple of years where I am completely healthy, where I came to training camp completely healthy. I felt good all the way through it, and certainly demonstrated it last week. And of course he's fresh because Deuce Staley's been doing the heavy lifting.
That's right. He said I had to wear a brace all last season. That didn't help my movement. He said, in fact, I've been as busy this year answering the questions of the young guys. He said, I guess I've been around too long. They want to know where to eat. They want to know what to do. He said, I'm the concierge of this team.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger calls him the mayor of Pittsburgh.
That's good enough.
Illegal formation. Offense. 5-yard penalty. There's an ineligible receiver on the end of the line. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
So the clock stopped at 38 seconds. And Bill Cowher didn't like that judgment at all.
Well, who would ever imagine Bill being a little upset about something?
13th year at the helm of the Steelers, and what stability in this organization to be admired in these sports times. The Rooney family with 23 years, Noel, and now 13 from Cowher. Back to Bettis, hit in the backfield. And just does get to the 20-yard line as Robert Griffith came up quickly from a safety spot to make the tackle, and Cleveland is going to use its final timeout. That stops the clock 32 seconds, so they figure that they might get the ball, but that just brings up third and long.
Yeah,
they're just a kneel down here now. And
no, they're just going to make Pittsburgh execute a snap. Bill Cowher. You need some goggles there.
Meanwhile, I wonder how he would react to this questionnaire. Who should be the next coach of the Miami Dolphins? He sent a note down to Dave Wanstead after he was dismissed or he retired from that position. Cast your vote at NFL.com. Jim Bates is the coach. The answer's already on there. Man, we send along our best to a head man that has always been as cooperative as any coach, Dave Wanstead. Always fun to walk into his office.
I'm always Bill is still going wild on the officiating staff over that penalty. You know, it was covered. What that means is one of the wide receivers wasn't up on the line of scrimmage. Obviously, Bill thought he was. A difference of opinion there.
Battling over a 5-yard call. Well, Roethlisberger and the Steelers battling the Browns and leave at the intermission 14-3. Armin?
Bill, obviously a very emotional beginning to this game. Your initial thoughts on the loss reporter, but as importantly, the inspired player of your team.
We're playing well. I mean, we're doing a lot of good things. It's a hard place to play. You caught me at a bad time. We got 30 minutes to go, and we got to take care of business.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Yeah, obviously his mind is elsewhere. 14-3 at the half. We'll be back with the Nextel halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Ready for the second half here in Cleveland. Make no mistake about it, fans. That rushing yardage statistic is highly important to Bill Cowher.
Well, Dick, Pittsburgh, the #1 team in the league, running the football, #1 team in the league, defending the run. No one's surprised that they have that kind of an advantage. But the Browns need the running game. You know, that sets up anything they're going to try to do with their passing game. And with them only generating 38 yards.
Well, William Green, losing them, do you think that?
Well, I think, of course, losing William Green hurts them, although Lee Suggs, when he's had opportunities in the past, has come through. So, again, the Browns must run the football if they're going to have a chance to win this game. Let's go ahead and check our fantasy notebook where we'll keep track of the people you're playing today. You can see Garcia below 50%. He had the one big play. Both of the quarterbacks have an interception, but an impressive performance for Big Ben. Of course, Jerome Bettis with a pair of touchdowns. Not a big per carry average, but he's just knocking them down. Nothing new about that. And then there's the guys, Hines Ward and Burris, both with 3 each, leading the Steelers.
And Pittsburgh with the lead 14-3 will get the ball first. And the Steelers grinding out on the ground and getting some timely passes from Roethlisberger. That's Ricardo Copley from Tusculum in Tennessee College. He was a second-round pick. And the Steelers really scouting well, found him, and feel he'll be a fine player, defensive back. It's to Antoine Randall L. He finds a seam and skids out across the 35. A flag goes down. And thrown where one suspects there was a block in the back. Or when Randall L. gets up to high gear, he is flirting with the big one.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 84 of the return team. That's a 10-yard penalty.
Take it back to the 19. Well, looking at the summary that started an hour before the game when Green and Porter, the fisticuffs, both ejected from this game. And then it was the bus. Jerome Bettis, 2 short yardage touchdown runs to run his total to 10 on the season. Polamalu denying the Browns a score at the end of the half with that interception from Garcia. Bettis slashing off the left side for 5 on first down. Thompson and Davis with a tackle. Let's go down to Armin.
Well, in talking to Butch Davis, Dick, no comment yet on that suspension of William Green. But what he did say was, and it was really very simple, we have just got to do a better job of keeping Ben Roethlisberger in the pocket. We're giving him too much time to do too many things, he said. Back to you.
And he has shown his ability to escape, hasn't he? 2nd and 5. Back to Bettis. Look at him carry the tackler to the 29 for 3rd and 1. Robert Griffith hit him at the 26. And Bettis finally went down at the 29.
Yeah, but where did he hit him, Dick? That's what's key. He hit him up high. And, of course, when he hits Jerome Bettis above the waist, you become a passenger. You do not become a tackler. You become a passenger. And Robert Griffith, do you see where he's got Jerome Bettis up by the numbers? Robert, that's the wrong place. I would be targeting a little lower.
A passenger, huh?
Yeah.
You get that seat right behind the driver.
Yeah.
Huh?
You are no longer the tackler.
3rd and a yard. Well, actually, they give him a first down on that last carry. And there's a end around, and Hines Ward runs into Kennard Lang. Lang holding his ground, and Ward right into his lap.
Well, that's a veteran for you. That's what happens when you play in this league for 8 years. You sniff it. You feel it coming. Kennard Lang, look how early he makes his break upfield. Rather than running parallel down the line of scrimmage, which, of course, all the action is supposed to get you to do, he honors his responsibility. Make sure there's no reverse before he goes into pursuit. That's a veteran play.
What a Miami team that was. They had Lang, Warren Sapp, and Kenny Holmes on the defensive line. 8-yard loss on the play. Roethlisberger dumps it off in the flat to Bettis. 3 men miss him, and then he stumbles out to the 27. That'll bring up 3rd and long for Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. It was Terry Bradshaw was the last Steeler first-round quarterback pick back in 1970, and those of you who remember back those days, while Bradshaw went on to become a Hall of Fame quarterback, his early start, nothing like Roethlisberger.
No.
Willie Parker, the running back now with Big Ben. Cushing moves into the backfield with him as a blocker. Lots of time, and then it dumps off on an incomplete. Parker had it in his hands, tried to run before it was tucked away. So the punting team on for Pittsburgh.
And Parker was just one broken tackle away from easily picking up the first down. That was, again, tremendous pass blocking by the Steeler offensive line. Big Ben had all sorts of time to check down and find Parker, and Parker just dropped it.
Dennis Northcutt back, and no block Gardocki to punt it. In his career, over 1,000 punts, never been blocked. Best ever in NFL history. Sails a dying spiral toward Northcutt, 29. And a good return out to the 44-yard line. Brett Kiesel with a tackle. In the 1960s, Cleveland had Jim Brown, and Pittsburgh had 35-year-old running back John Henry Johnson. Rushed for 200 yards as Pittsburgh won it 23-7. Welcome back to Cleveland. Hey, don't miss Dave tomorrow night. Jerry Seinfeld is his guest. And later this week, don't miss Listen Up star Jason Alexander. Hey, Patriots quarterback Tom Brady will be on, and Howard Stern as well. Dave's all new all this week. Great lineup of guests. 43-yard line. The Browns put it in play. First possession, second half, and Lee Suggs is smothered. A yard or two loss as Aaron Smith and Chris Hoke, two defensive linemen there shoulder to shoulder.
Well, the Browns defense over the years has played well enough to win, but offensively it has been a real struggle for them. Take a look at them this year and look at those NFL rankings, and we just saw a run for negative yardage right there that adds to that list. But again, when those kind of numbers, Butch Davis has just never been able to get an offensive team that moves the ball consistently. It's been a struggle. Defensively, they've played good enough to be a contending team, but not on this side of the ball.
Here they come up the middle with a blitz, and Garcia pays the price. Chris Hoke, the 296-pound nose tackle that's replacing Pro Bowler Casey Hampton.
And another one of those crossing blitzes. Look how hard this is for the line to try to figure out who you're going to block. They initially get it, but what a great spin move by Chris Hoke, who's, like you said, filling in for Hampton. That, you see, that was just individual effort. That was being picked up by a guy, but you put on a move and you beat that guy one-on-one and got a sack out of it.
Yeah, old Chris Hoke got a little dance going there. That's his first career sack. So he celebrates 25 now for Pittsburgh on the year. They're second to the Eagles. 27 for Philadelphia. Throw incomplete as he goes for Dennis Northcutt. Juggles and hit the ground, and out comes the Cleveland punting team, and a few groans and more from the Browns faithful, or unfaithful as the case may be.
Well, it's a, you know, right now what we're seeing a little bit of is, and even though this is still a competitive game and Cleveland is very much in this game, I think some of the Browns fans realize that there is a difference between the guys in the brown shirts and the guys in the white shirts. Pittsburgh might be, it's clearly one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league, and some people think it's the best.
Derek Frost with another short kick, but it takes a Cleveland roll inside the 20-yard line. 46 with a roll for Frost on that one. Timeout in Cleveland.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39. Capital One, what's in your wallet? And by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
Old Hanford Dixon, the defensive back in the 70s, started the dog pound concept, and it's been a part of the culture here in Cleveland on a football Sunday. Jerome Bettis and the Steelers take over at their own 19. There's the bus tripping again as he slipped on the grass at the 21-yard line.
A lot of players slipping on this grass today.
Roethlisberger, and it's a mouthful. He said, "You can call me Big Ben." At Findlay, Ohio High School, west of Cleveland, his junior year, he played wide receiver. Not until his senior season, he was a starting quarterback. In 1990, Ben was the runner-up for the prestigious Ohio Mr. Football. He passed for over 4,000 yards and 54 touchdowns in high school. On second down, back to Bettis.
I guess playing wide receiver first kind of gives you an appreciation of how you want the ball delivered. Maybe every quarterback should have to play wide receiver first.
It's like defensive backs often played quarterback in high school or college. He said, though, that football wasn't his first love. Basketball still is, although he was outstanding in that sport and recruited by colleges. Baseball, as a shortstop, a 6'5" shortstop, has taught him that quick release. Flick of the wrist kind of passes.
Well, the Cleveland crowd trying to get their defense a little excited here. They know they're still in the game.
Third and long 5. Here comes the Cleveland blitz. Picked up, and the throw downfield is short. So they made him hurry. And although he had Hines Ward with a step down field, couldn't get it to him.
Well, again, it's a page out of the Pittsburgh playbook as Cleveland comes with a little cross blitz up the middle. Take a look at that, trying to confuse the Steelers, although they pick it up beautifully. Gerard Warren late gets in there with a hit on Roethlisberger. But somehow, downfield, Hines Ward didn't know the ball was coming.
Dennis Northcutt, that sun is right in his eyes, shielding his eyes as he waits for the Garducky punt. And it's a good high kick. Fair catch, Northcutt. Takes a bounce back and covered there by Ike Taylor. It'll be Cleveland ball at the 25 when we return. Reminder tonight, stay tuned to CBS. Makers of Viax knew there were some problems. Why did they keep selling it? Find out tonight on 60 Minutes. Cleveland starts at the 26. Trailing 14-3 here in the third quarter. Garcia underneath, complete to his fullback. Terrell Smith gets a catch and picks up about 8 yards. Let's go down to Armand.
Dick, I'm with one of the true greats and great voices of sport, Jim Brown. And Jim, through Randy Lerner, the president of the Browns, you've really been able to reconnect with this team. You've talked to him several times. What has your message been to him?
Well, actually, Randy has done a fantastic job in bringing the whole Browns mystique back, the alumni. We're now dealing with the players. We're friendly with the players. We deal with them off field. It's a fantastic situation. Of course, we got to win some games.
Jim, you were obviously a big part of this rivalry. 1965, you scored 3 touchdowns. What stands out in your mind?
Well, you know, the fans. I just walked by and they hollered and screamed and waved at me, and being down and smelling this grass and knowing that maybe 50 years ago I was here, it's a great feeling to be here, to be invited back, and to be able to have some input maybe with this franchise becoming a championship franchise.
Well, it's great to see you, Jim. Thank you.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Rookie in 1957 out of Syracuse University.
And I would have been one of those fans yelling at him when he went by.
Well, growing up just an hour from here in Canton, you were a big Cleveland fan as a kid.
Oh, huge.
11 yards for Garcia on the scramble, and he has his arm hit as he throws this one. Incomplete is the call as Clark Higgins picks it up. Kendrell Bell in on Garcia.
Well, Jim Brown, the greatest football player that ever played football in my estimation. And
look at this.
No one in the NFL was a marked man the way Jim Brown was. And you think of some of those classic confrontations going against the people like Sam Huff and Nitschke and some of those unbelievable. But again, a big man at the running back position, Dick, with that unbelievable combination of power and speed.
And he retired. Everyone thought at a very young, he only played 9 years. Everyone felt he had another 4 or 5 in him. Led the league 8 of the 9 years that he was.
I love that movie, Dirty Dozen, but I always felt it took him away from football. I never, ever forgave him for that.
Never gone to a film since. Oh, my.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by UPS. What can Brown do for you? And by the Sony Grand Vega HD TV. High definition, like no other.
Yeah, they're all eager to have some fun in the dog pound, but not much to cheer about thus far for Cleveland. 14-3, but they have it at their own 46. Midpoint of the third quarter. Here's Suggs. And he's stifled as he reaches the 50. Polamalu with the tackle.
Boy, that Polamalu, he is one aggressive son of a gun, isn't he? You hear the Pittsburgh players talk about this guy. It's only his second year, but he's leading the team in tackles. He's already got a couple interceptions. One he run back for a touchdown, and again, he brings it. I mean, that's an expression players use. But when Troy gets there, he's a son of Troy, by the way. Troy from Troy. He brings it. He brings a load, and he will smack it.
All-America at Southern California, a Trojan. 3rd down and 5. And time called. Fans are becoming increasingly impatient. Butch Davis has had trouble with these Steelers, and especially Bill Cowher. He's been able to beat Pittsburgh only once out of 8 times, and he trails by 11 today. Some of the terrible towels here. Myron Cope, of course, the creator of what has become part of the Pittsburgh legacy. Had a little accident a week or so ago. Not with us today. We miss you, Myron. Longtime Steeler voice. On 3rd and 5 after the timeout, Garcia being tracked down, and the sack for James Harrison. Here's the kid from Kent State who replaced Joey Porter when Porter was suspended for this game with a fight. Harrison has his first NFL sack.
Well, the pocket breaks down for Jeff Garcia, and then it's just hunting season for the Steelers. You see right there, Jeff's got nobody open, and somebody comes off a block finally. That time the lucky guy was Harrison. You know, if you stay after it long enough. But Jeff Garcia that time couldn't find anybody, tried to find someplace to go, couldn't find that either.
Derek Frost. Antoine Randall L with a fair catch at the 17-yard line. Tonight on CBS begins with America's #1 news magazine, 60 Minutes, followed by a new episode of Cold Case, and that'll be followed by a CBS original movie event, Category 6, Day of Destruction. It's all here tonight. CBS, America's most watched network.
Day of Destruction, the story of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense and what they do to people on a weekly basis.
And that offensive line, you can add them too. They're destroying opposing defensive lines, and that running game much alive for Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger. Nice throw to Plexico Burris. It was interesting, Hines Ward, and talking with him, you ask about Big Ben, and everyone is so high in praise. He can't be that good. He's only a rookie. And he said, one of the things we told him was at first, he was trying to be too perfect with a pass, throw the perfect pass. And, hey, get it out there. We have to make catches. Just get it near us. We'll help you out.
He thought he was trying too hard to guide the ball to deliver the perfect pass. And you're right. Hines just said, hey, chuck it out in our direction. We'll make a play for you.
They pay us for that. Here comes Bettis. He twists out to the 33-yard line. Chris Crocker finally gets him down.
Well, it's been a typical day at the office for Ben Roethlisberger, although he started off with an interception, something he does such a good job at taking care of the football. McCutcheon came up with that one, but then it's a lot of the short stuff. Keep in mind he's aided by the awesome running game. But what really has surprised the Browns today is his taking off and running with the football. There was a stage of the ball game there towards the end of the first half where he had more rushing yards than the entire Browns team.
Here comes Bettis behind that pulverizing line play of the Steelers, and he's to the 37. Roy and Davis, the tacklers. Well, let's look at Roethlisberger's report card thus far. He's thrown for 112 yards, 9 for 15. Still using that playlist on his wrist.
Well, as Alan Faneca said, he's still a rook. He's playing well for a rook, but he's still a rook.
They don't let him forget that, do they?
No, you can't.
Bettis, hardly a rookie, and the veteran powers his way close to another first down. He'll be about a half-yard shy as Holdman and Roy team up on the stop. Armin, what do you have for us?
Well, Dick, you know, it's interesting. Ben just grew up not far from here in Findlay, Ohio, and his dad, Ken, is here at the game with some family and friends. It's interesting about his father. He spent 15 years at an auto plant and turning down promotion so he could spend more time with his kids, in large part because his own father did the same thing, giving up this high-powered job in Chicago so he could buy a sporting goods store in Lime, Ohio to spend time with his sons. Ben said, "I love playing catch with my dad. He's my role model, and I can't think of higher praise than those two words, Dick."
And that it was great to hear that from Ben Roethlisberger. And his dad, Ken, did play a little quarterback at Georgia Tech and then was injured. And even in the big moments when he was finally drafted, the first thing that this young guy, Ben, wanted to do is go out and play catch with Dad. I thought that was touching.
Did you see him come over the sideline with a smile on his face? He's going, hey, I know. I don't know whose fault all this was, but you know what? I'm just glad to be here. Take a look at all-time rookie completion percentages, and so many guys, when you come into this league, struggle. Those are the guys that, you know, some guys that have done really well. But hey, when you're talking about being 11 points higher than Dan Marino, and Dan Marino took this league by storm when he came in 1983.
Yeah, he's getting piled on. Marino, they're piling on him. It's Peyton Manning doing it to him, and now this kid Roethlisberger, he's going to need some counseling. We're going to give him some love.
He's got a tremendous running game, and let me tell you, that makes a lot of quarterbacks look really, really good when you've got that running attack.
Yeah, back when Marino was at his best, he had better runners, but never anything like this.
No. Not the #1 running attack in the league.
And Bettis now only 6 yards from the century mark, and here it's 3rd and inches. Fake to him. Look at Roethlisberger all by himself out here. Blocked by Burris. Big Ben out of bounds at the 45-yard line. An easy first down. Anthony Henry finally bumped him out.
It's so easy. It's so easy when you run the ball effectively. Who isn't going to honor this play action? Everybody in a brown jersey did, except for poor old Anthony Henry out here who's trying to fight off Plexico Burris. Watch. Anthony Henry is all alone, and what's he got in front of him but a 6'5", 230-pound wide receiver.
So that's a 41 yards rushing for Roethlisberger, and that's only 11 yards less than the entire Cleveland total. Bettis fighting for an extra yard in the arm of Chris Crocker with an assist to Tyrone Rogers.
Now, the one thing I'm sure that Bill Cowher might talk to Ben Roethlisberger about is, okay, Ben, here's the deal. We ran that naked bootleg. You picked up the first down. You know what? That's all we really needed out of you. Go ahead and take a hook slide. There's no need to go over there and start taking people on. I know you're a big, strong kid, but hey, take the hook slide. We've moved the chains. We did what we wanted. Let's get back to the huddle, run another play.
32 rushing plays for Pittsburgh, one more than the total amount for their opponents.
They had 56 rushing plays last week against the Eagles.
Here's the rookie, Willie Parker, and he's hit in the backfield by Alvin McKinley. Well, we asked Bill Cowher, is this just how it's evolved this year, or are you really philosophically committed to the run, and when did it begin?
Well, he knew last year that they were 6-10 a year ago, and they got away from the running game. He said we became a little too enamored of being in spread formations and throwing the football. And he said this year we knew we were going to get back to running the football. I've got a new coordinator in Ken Wisenhunt. It is all about Steelers football, getting back to what we used to be.
Well, here is a passing situation, 3rd and 10. They're coming after Roethlisberger, but there he goes as he slips again. A lot of trouble today. 5 or 6 times a back has gone down. Chris Crocker pounding him all the way, and a flag is down on the play.
Almost certainly holding against the Steelers' offensive line.
Holding, number 64, the offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Center Jeff Hardings, who's having a solid year playing side by side with Alan Faneca, the all-pro guard.
I don't know, Dick, why we're watching so many people have, struggle with the footing here. It hasn't rained in a couple of days here, I don't believe, or at least not while we've been here. And yet it seems that we've seen a good 4 or 5 people try to cut a corner and slip and fall, and Roethlisberger twice.
Northcutt to return Gardaki's punt. Again, having to shield his eyes, looking into the sun. Fair catch at the 10. With 1:27 left in the third, a 44-yard punt by Gardocki. And Pittsburgh with a 14-3 lead, saying, we'll run the ball, you try to stop us, and we'll pin you back and see what you got.
Well, Cleveland Browns Stadium has been a friendly place for Jeff Garcia and the Browns. They're 3-1 here so far this year, but boy, it has been a struggle today. He's been under duress all day long. Look at the hit he took there. You can see he's seldom getting a chance to really plant his feet and look around. This Pittsburgh rush has been all over him. And if it wasn't bad enough, you saw when there one of his own linemen stepped on his foot and knocked him down. So it has been a real struggle today for number 5.
Lee Suggs runs into a stone wall and pushed back by Harrison and others. Ferrier was there as well. Well, Garcia has completed only 5 passes in the game for 98 yards. 1 intercepted right at the end of the half. He's a terrific story, and there's so many around the league, but you love to see him, a guy that nobody thought could play in the NFL, goes to Canada and becomes a successful quarterback there, wins the Grey Cup with Calgary. Now he's a 3-time Pro Bowler with the 49ers. Gets a big contract coming here to Cleveland. Suggs, element of the draw play out to the 20, 1 yard shy of the first down. And you know, he is surprisingly among the big boys when it comes to producing the touchdown pass since 2000.
I doubt that if you posed that question to many, even very knowledgeable football fans, that many people would have put Jeff Garcia into that category. If you're sitting out there and say you would have, I'm impressed. But you might be fibbing, too.
They also thought Manning had 200 by now. Suggs breaks through a tackle, and that gets the Browns a first ball. The ball down, and no signal yet from the officials. They're going to be a powwow.
Who saw what here?
And they're going to mark it a first down for Suggs. Butch Davis watches the clock tick off the final second of the third quarter. Pittsburgh 14, Cleveland 3. We'll return after these messages from your local station.
Is it the electrifying runs? You're watching the NFL on CBS.
All right, Jerome, the bus, the concierge, the mayor.
The whatever he wants to be.
Yeah, he's got a place reserved down the highway in Canton. Oh, just getting out of there in time. Garcia to throw it away to avoid the blitz. Ferrier and Foot were on his heels.
This is not a question of a guy coming free. This is a question of 3 people coming free. I've seen quarterbacks having to fight for their life. Look at that. Foot, Ferrier, this is terrible. Clancy, we got 3 different guys on Jeff Garcia just being waved at.
Well, that's like 3 hungry dogs going after a fresh porterhouse. They were right on his heels.
It's the right arm of Ryan Tucker, the right tackle.
Jeff Fain has one too, a 60-hour project. Ooh, Lee Suggs and Ferrier just dumps him, fumbles the ball, and Pittsburgh has it.
Well, that's about as pathetic an offensive possession as a team could have. 2 plays, one a complete blow up front where the quarterback has to run for his life, and then a turnover on a fumble. And nothing new about James Ferrier delivering a big lick.
That's his 4th forced fumble of the season.
Yeah. Wow, look at that hit. Polamalu in there as well, but Ferrier. Whoa, he just talk about moving a guy backwards. Lee Suggs doesn't even know where that ball is. I'm not sure he knows where he is.
Well, he just ran right through and over him. So the Steelers with a 14-3 lead get it at the 23. And guess who? No, the fake to Bettis. Roethlisberger to Plexico Burris. He's out of bounds at the 1 yard line. Tried to stretch to the pylon.
He wants. Are they going to give it to him?
Call it a touchdown.
Yep.
That's a long stretch, but he's a long man. He's 6'5".
Well, again, it all starts with play action to Bettis. But take a look at the cushion being given by Anthony Henry. I don't think he got there. Henry gets a push on Burris right there. My initial reaction in looking at it the first time was that Burris did not break the plane with that ball.
Whirling on the field. The runner stepped out of bounds at the 2 with the ball at the 1-yard line. It is not a touchdown. First and goal.
Well, I think that's a very good call. Oh, sorry there, Plex. But it's
he leads the Steelers in touchdown catches with 4. That's the right call. Rather than going through the whole challenge process, they got it right there.
The only thing where Triplett misspoke, he never did step out of bounds. But he goes out of bounds and lands out of bounds without the ball crossing the plane. That's the thing. He did not get it. He did not get it over the pylon. So that's a good spot with the ball down there at the 1.
And guess who might get his 3rd touchdown? So Burris sets the table. Max Starks, the extra tackle, comes in. Now he's
already in double digits.
Jerome Bettis licking his chops. The pile moves. Does it move into the end zone? They're not going to call it till they see exactly what. No, not quite. They mark it inside the 1. Rory Coleman spearheading the charge. 5 times a Pro Bowler, this man, out of Detroit, Michigan, whereas his buddy as a youth was Gilbert Brown, the big defensive tackle of the Green Bay Packers.
He's going to try for his 11th rushing touchdown of the season.
See it right from the line judge's point of view. And he's hit in the backfield. Tries on the second effort to lurch forward, but is denied again. And Cleveland says they've got the fumble. Dalvin McKinley was the man holding his way.
A running back takes a risk when he leans that ball out like that. You better break the plane and stop play, because that ball's in play. And Jerome Bettis puts the ball in play right here when he rolls over on his back. Right there. You know, he's not on the ground. He's not down. That is still a live football for a while until the referee decides to blow the whistle and stop play.
There's a quick huddle to the line of scrimmage. 3rd and goal. And he stopped again, and the Browns rise defensively. Andre Davis. Now that is an impressive goal line stand. 3 shots from the 1, and on 4th down they're at the 2.
Well, too much penetration by the Browns. This is a case where they actually moved the Steeler offensive line backwards. That never had a chance. Credit Cleveland. At the point of attack, they were the ones that got upfield and got the surge going the other way.
So the head man, Bill Carr, will settle for the chip shot field goal, 20 yards. Jeff Reed, and he punches it through. That assures a 2-touchdown lead for the Steelers. Back with a reminder, tomorrow night, a new CSI Miami. No one ever died from speed dating until now. The clues from this case come from women who knew the victim for only 5 minutes. Don't miss a new CSI Miami, Monday, 9 Central on CBS. Jerome Bettis having it his own way on so many goal line opportunities, but he was knocked back on 3 shots from the 1-yard line. And Pittsburgh settles for the field goal at 17-3. The kick comes down to Richard Alston. And he can't make it to the 20. Dropped at the 18-yard line by wide receiver Sean Morey.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game. Dr. Pepper and your Dr. Pepper bottler. Be you. Nothing's better. Dr. Pepper. And by Nextel. Nextel helps groups get things done. Nextel. Done.
Well, it was hysterical before the game, Dan, but it's becoming historical here. Roethlisberger trying to do something never done before, starting and getting 7 wins as a rookie.
It's pretty impressive. There's the way he has handled himself, and we all thought it would be such a challenge here in Cleveland because of the fact the Browns are such a different team here on their own turf. 3-1, and I just thought that this was a real trap game for the Steelers. And while this game is far from over, 2 touchdowns will tie it for Cleveland. They haven't shown much signs of life. It's time for them. Little urgency, a little quicker to the line of scrimmage, a little more aggressive offensively. The Browns can't afford to wait for the game to come to them. They got to try to make something happen.
Chrisman Jackson got 9 on that catch, and staggering forward for the first down is Lee Suggs in his second year out of Virginia Tech. James Harrison replacing Joey Porter in the game today with the tackle, and the fans with a sarcastic cheer at the announcement by the PA that was a first down Cleveland. Their 8th of the game. The Steelers, wins the last 2 weeks against unbeaten New England, unbeaten Philadelphia. Never happened that late in the season before. Boy, Garcia just got it off to Steve Hyden, the tight end, and he was under some heavy heat from James Ferrier.
Well, again, that's, Ferrier is unaccounted for, Dick, and that's a good reaction by Hyden. It's a blitz. He reads blitz. He breaks off his pattern. Jeff gets him the ball. It's the way it's supposed to work. It just doesn't work for much yardage.
You would just think, the average fan seeing all these blitzes and all the players that seem to be out of position, that you ought to be able to strike for a long one now and then against the Steelers.
Well, the difference is the people backing up the blitz, Dick, have skill. And they don't make mistakes. They don't turn people loose that result in big plays.
Here comes a backside blitz and a fumble. And it's recovered by Pittsburgh. Deshae Townsend. Well, did they?
No, I actually think Gonzalez might have covered it up.
Wow. It was there free. Deshae Townsend knocked it free, and it looked like
it was there for the taking.
Ferrier had a shot to scrape it in.
I think Aaron Smith was the guy that had a chance to go after it too. 91. Watch this ball. Aaron Smith has it. It just goes right through his legs, and then Joaquin Gonzalez comes sliding in and picks it up.
Well, that's a good save by Gonzalez.
Oh, and we're back to that thing being pointed on both ends. It just doesn't go where you want it to go.
Deshae Townsend with a forced fumble, and that's his 4th sack. He's a cornerback. A lot of linemen would like to have 4 sacks at the end of the year. He's got 4 as a cornerback.
Delay a game.
Well, Jeff Garcia went public this week talking about the fact that the plays weren't coming in quickly enough for him, that with all the motions, formations, and everything he has to call, and he went public and talked about it this week, and Butch Davis acknowledged that, yes, we're having some problems with that, and again, we've seen Cleveland use timeouts. In that case, they couldn't afford to use their final timeout. They just went ahead and took the penalty.
Well, he put some of the blame on his own shoulders. He said, yeah, it's taken me a while to adjust. It's a totally different system from the 49ers. And there's another fumble picked up on the run. It'll be a touchdown for Russell Stuyvesant. The second-year defensive back from Youngstown State has a touchdown. Aaron Smith knocked it free, and again Garcia, just too many of the enemy around him.
And Jeff just didn't do a good job with ball security. If you're going to take off with it, you're just like anybody else. Put the ball away. Jeff was thinking about trying to throw it, but before he ever could bring the ball up, it was swatted away. And it just goes from bad to worse for the Cleveland Browns.
And what a gift for Russell Stuyvesant.
Yeah, that's where one of those deals where the ball took a cooperative hop,
didn't it?
Right up into his hands.
And he's right in Pittsburgh territory, from McKeesport in high school and went to Youngstown State nearby. That's got to be a great moment for him. And a breakthrough before the snap. That was Alvin McKinley. So that blows the game open. The Steelers leading 24-3 here in the 4th quarter with 9:14 left, and the defense just wears you down. It just seems as if, I'm sure from the Garcia point of view, there's more than 11 guys in white uniforms out there. Bill Cowher out saying, what's the call? Let's go.
Encroachment, 97 defense. Half the distance to the goal. Retry at the 1.
So McKinley trying to guess the snap, and half the distance down to the 1-yard line. And warming up is Kelly Holcomb, and who has had his moments here at Cleveland. Had that great playoff game against the Steelers, you'll remember. His numbers in his career out of Middle Tennessee State. He and Tim Couch, remember there was a quarterback controversy here. Fans wanted Holcomb. And we have a timeout. Butch Davis has challenged the fumble on the Garcia play, feeling, as you can see from his motion, that he had his arm going forward.
After reviewing the play, quarterback was bringing the ball up. It was hit by the defense. Therefore, it is a fumble. Ruling on the field stands. Cleveland is charged their third and final team timeout.
Well, I don't understand what Butch Davis could have possibly been looking at here to think that this wasn't a fumble. Your arm has to be going forward. There goes Garcia's arm forward.
Ball's
bringing
gone.
it up to cock it is got nothing to do with the throwing motion itself. That wasn't even close to being an incomplete pass because his arm was moving forward.
And here he is, already down by 3 scores and 9:14 left, and doesn't have any timeouts.
No, I can understand. You know, you take a chance. It's almost like throwing a deep pass. You take a chance at it, but geez, that wasn't a slim chance. That was no chance.
Slim wasn't in town. So Reed lines up for the extra point. 24-3 Pittsburgh. Jeff Garcia may be through for the day.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Circuit City. For the hottest new technology, think Circuit City. Just what I needed. And by Dockers, shirts and pants that do it all.
Pretty relaxed on that Pittsburgh bench with a 3-touchdown lead. 9 minutes and change remaining here in the fourth quarter in Cleveland. And Jeff Reed has it teed up. Richard Olston and Frisman Jackson are back for Cleveland. 24-yard fumble recovery touchdown by Russell Stuvance, the latest Steelers score. Very short on the kick, and it's Jackson this time across the 35-yard line. Sean Morey, another tackle.
Well, let's revisit what we talked about at the top of the show, keeping an eye. Could the Browns survive a trip to Pittsburgh? No. To this point, they have not. Their quarterback, Jeff Garcia, been under duress the entire game. Jerome Bettis has done what we knew or thought he would do, run for nearly 100 yards. He's got a pair of touchdowns. And, yes, Big Ben can play well on the road in a hostile environment. He's been solid today, even though he had an early interception.
And here's the 8-year veteran Kelly Holcomb taking over for Jeff Garcia at the 36. Butch Davis hoping he can ignite a spark into this offense. Fires downfield, complete. It's Frisman Jackson with a leaping catch in Pittsburgh territory at the 48.
You know, one thing I think of, Dick, about this Browns offense and all the blitzing Pittsburgh has done, what a weapon Kellen Winslow Jr. would be. That's where a tight end can really come up big for you, especially someone as explosive as that rookie.
Yeah, Butch Davis unlucky. A first-round pick, Kellen Winslow Jr. Injured early in this season. Jackson another catch, short yardage. And it isn't just him. They lost their number 2 pick as well, safety Sean Jones, a 215-pound safety out of Georgia that they thought would really anchor their back 4. Holcomb complete to Antonio Bryan, and that's after the whistle. It's called incomplete. Well, Dave wants that back in our CBS headquarters in New York. He understands about bad luck and injuries and early retirements.
I really don't believe, well, I know that I haven't, and as long as I've been in the NFL, any team experienced the run of bad luck that the Miami Dolphins did, and all of Southern Florida with the 4 hurricanes and retirements and personnel shuffles and on and on and on.
Steelers show blitz, and Holcomb just able to get that pass off for Suggs, incomplete. Covered well by Chris Hope. Clark Higgins was the man in on Holcomb.
I think the Steelers, they're demonstrating that they are equal opportunity blitzers. It's just not personal with Jeff Garcia. They'll go after whomever's playing quarterback for the Browns.
And they only came with 5 that time. Bill Cowher's team certainly on the top of the league right now. 6 straight wins, looking for 7. 2 very impressive victories, beating teams that hadn't lost this year. Here's the blitz again, and Holcomb, good throw, and it's complete on the far sidelines to Bryant. Knocked out of bounds at the 30-yard line, a first down, a 4th down and 5 throw. And against the Steeler back 4 defense is playing much looser now with a 3-touchdown lead.
Right, and that was a case Ike Taylor was giving a big cushion, although you got to give credit to Holcomb for realizing which one of his receivers had the single coverage and the cushion, and he went there.
Tough day for Jeff Garcia as he watches Holcomb, his replacement, first down. Down the middle, it's Frisman Jackson, and he's inside the 10. Well thrown ball.
A well thrown ball and a very nice catch by Jackson. Normally going across the middle, you think you're going to get a big hit. You'll see a lot of guys short arm that ball, but Frisman Jackson catches it on the run. Holcomb led him nicely. And this is more life than we've seen on the Browns offense all day.
Jackson with 5 catches today. That matches his season total, 5 coming in. First and goal. Suggs. Oh, he had room outside, trips up as Clark Higgins down low. If he gets around Higgins, he's got to dance into the end zone.
Ifs and nuts, and can't he? He didn't make it. It was some play by Higgins. You're exactly right, Dick. This is a tap dance into the end zone if Clark Higgins doesn't fight upfield, fight through the block. Look at that. That's a waltz into the end zone.
No gain on the play, second and goal. Wide open touchdown, tight end Aaron Shea. So Kelly Holcomb comes off the bench and drives his team to a touchdown very impressively. Look at that on the stat tracks, 5 for 7 on the drive. And Shea with a touchdown, his 3rd of the year.
Well, we got a mistake in the Steelers secondary there. 2 guys jump on 1 receiver and leave Shea all alone.
Bill Cowher using some of his backups here late in the game.
Yeah, well, there may be some personnel changes on the next series.
Extra point try now by Phil Dawson, and it's a 24-10 game.
Aaron Shea lines up at the tight end position, and when he breaks to the corner of the end zone, the receiver that broke to the inside gathers the attention of a pair of Steelers, and he is all alone. He's going to run here, and then he's going to make his break for the corner, and you can see to the inside. That's a blow by the Steelers secondary.
Aaron Shea, one of 3 tight ends in this game that played, you don't mind if I mention this, do you, Dan? Played at the University of Michigan, who happened to be playing Ohio State next week, and Michigan closing in on maybe a Rose Bowl bid, I hear.
Well, you're broadcasting here, Dick, in the state of Ohio, and most people here think that the Buckeyes might have something to say about that.
Well, it makes it a pretty interesting game.
Oh, yes. Well, I can tell you one thing about the Ohio State-Michigan game. It always seems that the team that has the most to gain from winning that game really struggles in that game. It's I know Ohio State lost this past weekend, but I would not expect the Wolverines to go to Columbus and have any kind of a walkover.
Well, anyway, Aaron Shea from Michigan, Jeremy Tooman, and Jay Reamersma, the 2 tight ends for Pittsburgh, also ex-Wolverines, as Dawson has it teed up for the onside kick.
The hands team is up here for Pittsburgh.
They load up on the far side. And it goes right to Hines Ward. Come to Papa. A reminder right after football today, coming up next, the Shark welcomes Mark Calcavecchia, John Daly, Justin Leonard, many more to the Franklin Templeton shootout. That follows football here on CBS. There's the leaderboard after 2 rounds. And the host himself, Norman, with McCarron, only 3 off the lead.
Well, that was an unfortunate hop for the Browns. That thing's supposed to be a little harder than that to field. It just goes right to Hines Ward, and Jerome Bettis, who's trying to chase a little NFL history, still in the game.
Yep, he's a dozen yards away from Tony Dorsett, number 5. And he's ever closer as he crawls, swims his way to the 37-yard line. Let's check on other news in the NFL. Back to Greg in New York.
All right, Dick, at the Meadowlands, Kyle Bowler has thrown his 2nd touchdown pass of the day to Clarence Moore. This one 16 yards to give the Ravens a 17-14 lead, but the Jets are within field goal range under a minute to play in regulation time, guys.
Ooh, that's such an important game. Both those teams, the Jets and Ravens. And, of course, the Steelers with a 2-game lead over Baltimore coming into this one. Willie Parker replaces Bettis. He got 6 yards on that carry, did Bettis. Shiftiness for Parker. All the way to the 15-yard line. They were in the market at the 14. That's the longest run of his rookie season. Willie Parker back to New York and Greg.
Hey, Dick and Dan, remind me if you've seen anything like this earlier today at Indianapolis. From his own 20, Peyton Manning rolls, finds Dallas Clark. When all is said and done, this is an 80-yard touchdown play for Manning, his 5th TD pass of the day, number 31 on the season. Indy in a rout, guys.
Oh, my gosh. Greg, is Marino on the floor? Get him up off the ground.
You better start brushing up your speech, Dan. Give to Parker, and Andre Davis gives it to him with the tackle. Meanwhile, Jerome Bettis trying to work on that right hamstring. He currently is just a handful of yards away from Dorsett. He needs 6 to pass Dorsett and become number 5 all time.
Ooh, with Deuce Staley being out with a hamstring of his own, I think Jerome's going to have to do some serious lobbying to get back in this game.
So it's the rookie Parker, the free agent, taking over the chores as the runner. Here he comes. Got good speed. There's the corner, and he's inside the 10-yard line to the 8. By the first down.
That's twice now that they bounced it outside and broken down the contain of the Browns defense to this side of the field. That play originally designed to go off tackle, and it's a very nice job Willie does of bouncing it to the outside for the 2nd time in a row. And the Browns, you can kind of sense that a little air has gone out of them since that fumble of Garcia's was returned for a touchdown. This is a Browns team right now that's on their way to 3-6 and a lot of question marks.
3rd and a short 5. Parker joins Roethlisberger in the backfield. Here he comes again around the corner. And he stopped at the 7-yard line. That'll bring up 4th down and about 3. Michael Lehan and Kennard Lang, the tacklers. This is how it started today. Pittsburgh with a win goes to 8-1, 7 straight. The 7-1 takes you a long way back to 79. They were 7-1 and didn't lose again until they were 9-1. The Steelers on their way to their 4th Super Bowl title.
Took a while for the officials to separate the players down there. We had a little scrum. This game, about 40 minutes prior to kickoff, we had more than a little scrum. We had an all-out fight out on the field.
Major league swings taken.
Yes, Joey Porter was ejected for his role. William Green, the running back for the Browns, was ejected. And as tension was a little high, Dick.
Timeout.
Timeout called by the Steelers with 3:28 left, and Reed out there to try for another short field goal. Well, there's our lineup tomorrow night on CBS. Still standing. Listen up. Everybody loves Raymond. 2.5 men. CSI Miami in the Late Show with David Letterman. You won't want to miss Seinfeld making his appearance in a stand-up routine. Always a great night. Mondays here on CBS. Well, the familiar environs for the head coach of the Steelers. Well, this is the same site as the old Municipal Stadium. That's where he played. He was a Cleveland Browns special teamer, a guy out of North Carolina State that just made the NFL because he was willing to sacrifice the body and go down and make the tough play. And then eventually becomes, after coaching here in Cleveland as assistant, a young head coach with the Steelers, and now in his 13th year, the longest tenure with one team of any coach in the league. Over 80 other coaching changes, and Bill Cowher's still here. Jeff Fisher second in line.
I'm glad we showed Dan Rooney introducing him, because Dan Rooney deserves so much of the credit for the stability of this Steelers franchise.
Oh, what happened here? Reed has that ball partially blocked, or did he just miss it?
Oh, nobody could miss it that bad, could they?
Reed with a short.
Is that possible? Nobody touched that?
24-yard attempt.
This is the NFL.
Maybe it just didn't get spotted correctly.
Let's take a look at it here. Oh, it's not a great snap. But there it is.
That's the old trick. Pick it up and take it.
Gardocki just dropped the ball. It wasn't the best of snaps, and Gardocki had trouble putting it down. Something had to be wrong with that knuckleball.
So the 24-yard miss, a bit embarrassing for Gardocki, and Reed only could swing at it and hope that he got lucky. Holcomb dumps it out to Suggs, incomplete. The Steelers with 7 straight wins, if they have this one, and here's what's ahead next week at Cincinnati, then back home at Heinz Field against the Redskins, and down the line at the end of the year. Look at that. Jets, Giants, Baltimore, and at Buffalo. That's a tough Final Four. And Jacksonville, too. I'm sorry. The Jaguars, that's no easy pickings. .321 left. Holcomb. Oh, there's Polamalu. He had that one all the way. He was moving right where Holcomb was throwing, and Polamalu has his second interception today, 4 on the season. This young guy is going to start earning some Pro Bowl attention.
Yes, he is, and he does this interception the same way he did the other one, by running underneath the receiver. Great timing, and how about the hands? You know, the old saying is the reason they're defensive backs is because they used to be wide receivers and they couldn't catch. Well, that was a fine display of hands by Troy Polamalu. That ball never even jiggled in his palms. That was some snag.
Kind of confirms, too, what Bill Cowher was telling us about Polamalu, that he's one of the brightest players he's ever coached, that he really sees the field, sees the game, anticipates well, and there he was for that pick. Willie Parker unable to pick up any yardage as Robert Griffith there. Polamalu with a kiss to the Steeler fans, one assumes. He grew up in Los Angeles, and his mother sent him up to Oregon. He went to school in Oregon. She wanted to get him out of the city. And he came back for his collegiate years at Southern Cal.
He's got some hair now.
That's right. I'm envious of that. Couldn't he just? How come some guys get all of it and others just don't get much at all? There's Parker using that speed around the corner and diving inside the 20-yard line. He'll be short of the first down.
And smartly hits the turf in the field of play and keeps the clock running.
He made the club in preseason by catching Cowher in the coach's eye with over 200 yards, leading the Steelers in the preseason as an undrafted player out of North Carolina. Wasn't used much there.
I said he kept the clock running. He hit inbounds.
And Louis Roethlisberger saying, appealing with his arms outstretched, palms up, saying, well, why isn't the clock running here?
You know, he clearly landed in the field of play and then bounced out of bounds.
Well, it's 3rd down and 1, and that's the last timeout for the Steelers as we approach the 2-minute timeout. How good is this Troy Polamalu?
Well, he's if he does this very often, he's on his way to Honolulu for the Pro Bowl. That was his interception early in the game that thwarted a Cleveland scoring opportunity. He's always doing this as the strong safety. And then his second interception of the day was just, that was instinctive. That was just a beautiful piece of work floating underneath the pattern. But primarily, you know, here's this guy with a pair of interceptions today that gives him 4 on the year. But here's a guy who's primarily known as a really heavy hitter. This guy is a big-time load deliverer from the strong safety position.
Yeah, that's why they took him in the 1st round. Jerome Bettis, a lot of smiles. It was interesting last week when he gained the 149 and the press kind of been on him a little bit. He's getting old, going to retire. And Jerome, with just that, kind of looked at us. Yeah, I know, I'm getting old, I'm getting fat, I'm getting slow. He said, how do you think I got up to number 6 all time?
Yeah.
That's still me. He's good to be around. Dante Brown makes his first appearance of the season for the Steelers. He wears 46. He was just activated yesterday with all the injuries in the backfield. And he gets a chance. He's from Memphis. In his 2nd year, last year, he got in a couple games, but no carries. That was his first big league carry.
Interesting that Jerome Bettis was like you said, a Los Angeles Ram. And then they came to St. Louis, and they thought that maybe this guy named Lawrence Phillips might be a better running back than Jerome Bettis.
Whoops. Well, in the history of the National Football League, not a lot of rookies get a chance to start at quarterback for a team. But for those who have in the grand history of this league, Ben Roethlisberger is about 3 kneels away from becoming the first ever to start a career as a rookie, winning 7 straight games. Mike Krusek, the rookie quarterback who replaced Terry Bradshaw back in the 70s when Bradshaw was injured, he won 6 in a row but didn't throw 1 touchdown pass. He just knew who to hand it off to. Not to take anything away from him, but nothing like what this kid has done in his 7 starts.
I think this is a real accomplishment for Pittsburgh, given those 2 hugely emotional wins at home over the Patriots and then the Eagles. And I think everybody realized that this was a game where they could have easily come to Cleveland, stubbed their toe. But instead, what we saw today was a team that played at a high energy level, but really a systematic taking apart of the Cleveland Browns. I mean, this was just a better football team exercising their will over an inferior football team and not taking anything for granted. And I think you got to give a lot of credit to Bill Cowher and the Steelers coaching staff. I think this team, you know, we all fell in love with Philadelphia and New England and everything else. And hey, in January, who's going to go against New England? But still, this is a really, really good football team that just, I can't imagine them not playing in the AFC Championship.
And you can't say enough about what Gerard Warren and what his mouth did to help him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, Alan Faneca said, hey, I send a guy a thank you card. He got us focused.
So Butch Davis goes 3-6, and the dominance of the Steelers coach Bill Cowher here in Cleveland continues. Indeed, an impressive victory as it's 7 in a row for the Steelers. They'll remain well on top of the AFC North. 24-10, Pittsburgh the winner. For Dan Deerdorf, Armin Kate, and Dick Enberg, we send you now to New York and Greg Gumbel.